Evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of Lads It's Tottenham. This week, straight after another loss to Arsenal away at the Emirates. I've got Dave joining me. Dave, how are you?
I'm not happy at all. How are you?
Mate, well, none of us are happy, are we? But I didn't really, if I'm being honest, I didn't really expect a lot more than that. Disappointing, mate. What did you think when you saw the lineup?
I was surprised that. I was surprised that Maddison didn't play. I mean, I'd have played it like the City away. Yeah, so you'd have got Basuma Sarr, yeah, and then you've got Maddison, and then you've got Kulu on the right. Yeah, I was surprised he played Bergvall, not Maddison. I kind of think there's something going on here between Maddison and Ange. I really do. I think there's some issues here. And look, I don't think Maddison's been that great this season, but he's had some good games. And his City away game was his best game of the season and best game for a long time.
I think he's been better this season than he was towards the end of last season when he's played. Definitely, mate.
But as it's turned out with Bergvall, who obviously I was surprised to see him start. At the end of the day, he was the best of the three midfielders. Yeah,
I thought he was a bright spark, mate. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, but he was not. He's not. I mean, in the second half, he was playing central defensive. Well, he's playing the number 6-ish role, and they were kind of going through him. But going forward, he was good. Anyway, I just want to say I hate Arsenal. Right, I hate that. There's something about those red and white scarves that they hold above their head. About that red and white, I've been conditioned to hate them. I cannot stand them. And if they were a decent team, they'd have put us out of sight.
Matt, yeah, I mean, we went 1-0 up. But at that point, mate, when we went 1-0 up, was it against the run of play, really? Or do you think, or would you say deservedly went 1-0 up?
It was against, okay. So the concept of it's against the run of play, it was against the run of play, i.e., they had more possession, more attacks, and things like that, right? But the reality is that when you're playing away against the top 6, the top 4, the top 2, you got to soak up the pressure in the first 20 minutes, and you got to hit him on the break, right? So around that time, Spence did that fantastic cross with the outside of his foot, which Solanke just couldn't get hold of, and then you got Kulu had he just missed it around that time. He had that. Was it Kulu who had that chance, right? So around that period, so when you soak up the pressure for the first 20 minutes, which we did, whether by planning or accident or otherwise, right? And then you hit them on the break. That's what you do against them, right? That's what you do. And so, it was a good finish by Son. But, frankly, that's the only, I mean, I know he scored a goal, but frankly, that's the only thing he did, really.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come on to that. Let's sort of talk about the goals and stuff like that, first of all, and then we'll go off on tangents. So, I mean, their first goal, what you're thinking about that, mate? Avoidable, or do you just think I don't know, mate. It's just a bit poor, isn't it? We just don't defend stuff like that very well.
Well, I think the first thing to say about it is it was not a corner, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a corner. So that's the first thing. So it shouldn't have been a corner, right? That's number one. Number two, I don't think Kinsky did well on the corner, right?
Yeah.
I think Dragus, on the telly, Dragoshin and Solanke could have put in a header to get the ball out, right? Now, last year we all said that the weakness that we've got is conceding from set pieces. And I still will stand by the fact that with no Vicario, no VDV, and no Romero, I think we're better at defending set pieces because I think VDV's suspect in the air. I don't think Romero's great in the air, and Vicario's it doesn't exude confidence, right? So, but it was something that you can get. Someone should have put their head in and got the ball out, but it shouldn't have been a corner in any way. And frankly, that was obviously the crucial moment because if we'd have got to half time 1-0 up, then there's obviously different game. Yeah.
Yeah. But then we just sort of lose our shit, don't we?
Are we going to go on to the second goal? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were literally minutes after each other, mate.
4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
4 minutes. Now, how many times have we seen this season? And like, if you look at Brighton away and stuff like that, right? And so it's that in those 4 minutes, what I want to see from a decent captain and a decent captain and someone who's got the brain to go, right, let's keep the ball and let's get it up there. And if we've got to play in the corners and we've got to play shithousery and things like that, let's get to half time at 1-1 and that's it. But what we do is, so Basuma, right now, I'm going to be, when we signed Basuma, I was really happy. A good mate of mine, the Brighton fan, was gutted. Brighton fans were gutted. It was the old school signing. No one knew anything about it. And then we signed him, right? And is he, I know Ange apparently doesn't play a number 6, but he's not really a number 6. He's a number 8.
No, he's not. I don't think he is, mate.
But Basuma's consistency is his inconsistency. And when he lost the ball then, and they transitioned very quickly, then, that's not what you want from a number 6 or a number 8, right? And so in the summer, and this is instant reaction, and this is how I'm feeling. In the summer, we get rid of him because I don't want to see him. At the end of the season, because we haven't got any midfield players, everyone's injured, I want him gone, right? So he is just a loose cannon. He was brilliant City away, I give him that, but his consistency, as I said, is inconsistency. So that's that. And then let's get to Porro up against Trossard, right? Now, Pedro Porro, and it'll never happen. We'll get on to Johnson in a minute. Pedro Porro, I'd like to see him right up top and Spence right back. Okay, that's what I want to see. Yeah, and going forward, he showed more balls than Johnson. But we'll talk about that in a bit. But he's got to get tight. Every time you see him defending the flank, he doesn't get tight enough on the attacker. Right? Sorry, I'm ranting.
That's fair enough, Dave. That's why I asked you the question. So that's why you're on here for. But he's not. He's a wing back, isn't he, by trade? He's a wing back. He's not a right back. Do you know what I mean? And in front of him, usually, he doesn't have a wide forward that is very good at protecting a fullback.
So that some of the Ange came, right? We knew that Ange played with a back 4. And at the start of last season, we said Porro, forget Porro, right? Now Porro last season, I think he had a good season, right?
Yeah, he did.
And he played well in the back 4, but he also had Emerson Royale who could come in if need be, right?
Yeah.
But Royale ends up playing centre back. Emerson Royale goes, he's got Graves as backup, and he doesn't play Spence for 3 or 4 months. And Porro, and in the Europa as well. So Porro has been run into the ground. I couldn't believe it when he played against Tamworth on the weekend. I could not believe that for love nor money, right? So I'll give him some slack for that. So, Basuma lose the ball, go straight out to Trossard. And so the question is, the commentators are saying that Kinsky should have done better with the goal. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to something the other day, and I can't remember what it was now. Somebody in the chat might have listened to it, but they said that they were looking back at Kinsky at his old club, just doing like a scouting thing on him, and that it was the long shots that he struggled on. He wasn't great with long shots.
Right.
Shots from quite far out.
Yeah.
Good strike. I think it's difficult. It was a good strike, mate. I was just sort of a little bit when it went in. Do like usually I'd be like fucking angry but I just didn't, mate. At the moment it's just like apathy. I just sort of look at it and go, when the final whistle went, I just said to Zach, another loss in the league, because that is how it feels at the minute. Like winning is a habit. The top teams win. Now, people will say about Spurs, well, we got bin off the league maybe a bit this year because we're going for the cups, but we're losing in the league. Losing. Winning's a habit. Losing becomes habit. And that's where we are at the minute. Struggling to pick up points. We beat Liverpool in the cup. Yeah. That was a good result. But I always felt in that, I don't really want to say this because it feels like I'm taking something away from the team, but I always feel in that Liverpool were like, just as long as we go back to Anfield, and we've got it sort of at this stage, we're in control. They'll feel like they're in control, even though they're 1-0 down. It's half time. We beat Southampton, who are piss poor. They
Awful.
are piss poor. Awful.
Yeah.
Apart from that, mate.
Yeah.
Losing, getting a draw. Fulham drew. Probably should have lost that.
Yeah.
Mate, we are in a trajectory where we're going backwards. We are losing, and I just watch it at the minute, and I just do not see us winning league games. I don't think. I mean, Everton are crap, but I think Villa have made a sterner stuff than us. I know we beat them earlier in the season, but I think Villa they've beat them tonight 1-0. But I think they're made a sterner stuff. I've got a feeling Everton, Moyes will have them up for it. He'll want to get his first win under the belt. If we lose that, you know what I mean? And then we just, I mean, I've got what I think, my reasoning for it. I don't really want to go into that, but I just think we do look shattered. Players have been run into the ground, but whose fault's that? Wyatt Spencer's looked pretty decent since he's come back in. So even Reguilon, to be fair, mate, not brilliant, but I think Reguilon could have contributed and taken minutes off players that have been run into the ground. But I just watch us at the minute, mate, and I just, look, Tamworth, that team we put out was good enough to beat them. Conditions not great, little ground not great, but struggled to beat them, Dave.
Yeah, so let's go back a couple of things, right? So look, in terms of kind of you feeling apathetic, right? So I was on that couch first half, and I had Tourette's syndrome because I hate Arsenal. It's the North London derby. I hate a North London derby unless we win, and at the end it's great, right? I'm having a curry tonight with a Gooner. My bad, but that's what I'm doing, all right?
Yeah.
I hate the Arsenal, and a North London derby for me is a nightmare, right? So on that couch, first half, Tourette's syndrome. And then when we scored, I jumped on Jack, went mental, and then I got to take him to work for about 10 minutes. So I watched the first goal, and then I'm literally standing there behind that couch, and then watched the second goal go in, and I'm like going, and it's such a familiar story when we concede goals within close proximity to each other, right? It is so, and it's just like. And it's almost a bit like when it goes in, well, that's it, right?
That shows a lack of maturity, doesn't it? And leadership and calm heads, Dave. Because what I'd say to you is, you don't ever see anybody really, you don't see it always seems frantic wherever it is. And I don't really see that on the sideline. I just see a bloke with his arms folded, watching, not really doing anything. I don't see defenders or goalkeepers, anybody. I know we are a young team, but there's just there's nobody pulling it together. Like, awful.
You've got
Son.
I agree. He picked a leadership group last year, which is Son, who has passed this peak from at least 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
And I called it out, and everyone.
I was with you, Dave.
Right?
Me and you.
Me and you. Yeah. Right. So you got a leadership of Son, Romero, who has not bothered to learn English to do an interview or anything like that in the 3 to 4 years, and the first act he did as a Tottenham player was to go and join up with Argentina when he was told not to do so because of COVID. And then you got Maddison, right? Who, as I said, I think there's something going on between Maddison and Ange. And if Maddison was a top player, when we buy ready to go, like we've bought Solanke, I'll get onto in a minute, and Maddison. And so there's a reason why we've signed Maddison for 40 million is because none of the big teams wanted him. It was obvious, right?
Yeah,
Newcastle bought. Yeah, but that's the leadership group of the team, right? Now let's go into, we're not going to do an ownership debate. I get all that, right? But the fact of the matter is we came 5th last season with injuries, loads of hammy injuries because of the way he trains and the way he plays. And we finished 5th. We're out of the League Cup early and the FA Cup early, right? Done. This season, we all knew we had a shitload more games. Skip Højbjerg out the door with loads of Premier League. I agree them going, right? Yeah. But you've replaced them with kids. And like Bergvall has got better. And Bergvall's now in a place where I'm going, I think he can start. Gray, I think I hope we don't screw him up because I think he's a fantastic player. I really like everything about him. But even if I really like everything about him and if he plays, it's not a problem. They're still kids, right? So you had to have experienced players, ready to go players, bought into that squad. So Solanke's come in, and I'll get on to me. I like Solanke, right? And this Solanke, this is the big opportunity of his career, right?
Yeah.
Because he had one, this is his big opportunity, and he's going for it, right? But that's it. So we're playing more games with a weaker squad, right? And last season, Udogie and Porro were better last season because they had less games and slightly cover for them. This season, they're playing in every bloody game, and look at Udogie now, and there's no cover for them, no competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm amazed that Porro's not done his hammy yet, right? So that's where we are now, and then that's what the club, Levy, Langer, Munn, whatever, have given Ange for this season. So that's that. But now let's get into Ange, yeah.
No. So basically, though, I get told by lots of people. So we finished 5th last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that as we finished 5th. We struggled towards the end of the season, but we did finish 5th. So I look at that thinking, right, we finished 5th. So we're an half decent team. The basis is there. Let's move forward. So we bought some younger kids, which we should have done because you should always be getting those in. And we got Solanke in. Now, I don't know if it's the right word to use. So I said, once we started struggling a little bit, people were saying to me, this is what happens when you're in a rebuild. You got to have patience. It's a rebuild, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at it going, finish 5th. We've bought new players in over the last few seasons. A lot of them, a chunk when Ange started, a couple before, the likes of Porro in that, and the ones he bought this season. So I'm looking at that thinking, is it a rebuild? We should be quite far into this rebuild now, because we should be, when you finish in 5th and we have bought new players in, and we only had a couple of the old guard left. I'm looking at that going, now's the time the next step is to push on, make that team better, make the squad better, make the team better, and continue on that path. But people have been going, no, it's a rebuild. It's all right if we go backwards. And people have been saying that this is what happens when you're in a rebuild. And I'm like, nah, no, we should have been, you kick on from that point. You don't allow yourself to drop that further back. Then we had it took Arteta so long. He finished 8th twice or whatever. This is how long it took Klopp. We're not going in that trajectory at the minute, are we? And we do have injuries. I will give them that, but we should have kicked on from 5th. We are regressing, not progressing. And even if we get in back Romero and Van der Ven, I don't think it's enough.
No,
because I think even some of the money's been spent. If I'm going to be honest, Werner, terrible. I feel for the kid, but terrible. Johnson, because I know you want to come on to him, but me and HG were on this channel saying, when people moan about him now, or said I see nothing different in Johnson than the player I thought we were getting. So
a couple of things that you're saying, right? Those who are saying trust the project, trust the process, and roll out Klopp and roll out Arteta. Yeah, let's just go into that a minute. Klopp won the Bundesliga with a team that's not called Bayern Munich, right? Yeah. So he came into the Premier League with greater pedigree and great, and Fenway, Klopp, Michael Edwards said, right, sell Coutinho, get in Van der Vaart, get in Alisson. They buy well, not all the time, but their success rate is good, and they also sell well. I mean, look at that front three: Salah, Firmino, and Mane. Right? They've nearly finished the rebuild. Right? Have we finished the rebuild of Son and Dele and all that? No, of course we haven't, because that's not what we do, because that's not what it is. And then Klopp. He gets them to a UEFA Cup final in the first season, the second season, and yet they have some ups and downs. But you've got someone coming in with pedigree, and you've got the club backing the big calls and the big decisions made. So that's him, right? Second, Arteta, right? You had Edu up until recently. Everyone's moaning about the what they called the Gronkies or whatever, right? He drummed out the club Ozil. He drummed out the club Aubameyang, like that. There weren't loans, 1 or 2 seasons, and come back pre-season training and then go out again. Wrote it off, got rid, made the big calls, and therefore done, right? And more back like that. I'll give you an example, right? Trossard, right? You had Trossard tonight, who's not a starter, right?
Yeah.
But he's someone we piddled around with him, and Arsenal just said, right, and got him in. So you want Trossard coming off the bench or Timo Werner, right? You got so what we got? They got Trossard, and who did we get? Dan Juma, who Conte didn't want. So that's that bit, right? So trust the process. So let's talk about Ange, right? Okay. Now, I was on the Spurs show about a couple of weeks ago, right? Yeah. And the conversation for most of it was he doesn't adjust, mate. His in-game management is poor. He doesn't adjust to playing style, given the fact that we've got loads of injuries. Why have we got all these injuries playing this way? Why aren't we protecting our defence more? This kind of stuff. And the pedigree and this, that, and the other, right? But all of us psychologically said, we can't sack another manager. We can't go through this cycle again.
Everybody sacks managers, though, Dad. Yeah, but carry on. But I will just say this. The average life is two to 3 years of a manager.
Okay. Everyone sacks managers, and I get that.
Yeah.
But Daniel Levy is you're old enough, I think, to remember, and I am obviously old enough. Daniel Levy is like Peter Swales and Doug Ellis. Sack managers, right? So we'll sack a manager, and I'm telling you now, I have no confidence in Levy, Cullen, anyone else to make a decent football decision. And they appoint Munn, they appointed Langer, and they've appointed all these people over the years. And the geezer's handsomely rewarded. He's taken about 50 million out of that club over 20 odd years. And he's the chairman of the club. He awarded himself 3.5 million bonus the last financial year in the year of 3 first-team coaches, Paratici, and we didn't qualify for Europe, right? So let's get rid of Ange, right? Yeah. So tomorrow morning, Daniel has that conversation with him. So tomorrow morning, what's that? Friday, Thursday, your time. Yeah. So Thursday, just about after news at 10 on ITV, the club will release a statement. He's gone and Ryan Mason's in charge. Okay. Till the end of the season. Yeah. Right. So that's what we're doing. I don't want this geezer that the Turkish bloke's been talking about. The one who's not the one who was at Leverkusen or Dortmund, one or the other. I don't want him.
He's not Turkish, mate.
He was going to Turkey. Yeah.
He's Croatian, I think, to be fair, mate. Now, so I didn't know if we were going to get on to people who've watched this or people who know it, this Ange out thing hasn't been since all the injuries. I start the season, I was like, you know, I've seen enough. I'm not sure this is going to work. And gradually, I think, I can't remember what point it was. I've sort of been thinking, I don't think this is going to work. And now I'm fully like, look, whether we sack him now or at the end of the season, I just don't think he's up to it. I think he's a really good bloke. I really enjoy his principles. But, mate, and the other side of the debate is you'll come at me and say the club won't make a sensible decision. Now, I'm going to throw just like a name out there. Who would you go and get? I think Marco Silva from Fulham leaves every job he's at the drop of an hat to go to a bigger club.
Yeah,
we are a bigger club than Fulham, and I genuinely think, and this isn't like on recency bias on how Fulham are doing. I don't really pay much attention to a lot of teams, you know, but I watch enough to know what's going on, and I don't know, you know, where they are in the league. But I know they're above us. But I think he is a better coach than Ange Postecoglou. I think Ange's football, like, mate, he won it with Celtic, really good. Celtic are somewhere like 9 points clear already in their league, 11 points clear. You cannot be judging it on that. And I think, I don't want, mate, if it's sack him and get Ryan Mason in, I wouldn't do it. But I think there's going to come to a point, I can see us playing Liverpool in the Cup, and I hope I'm wrong here, and within 20 minutes, we will be trailing by 2 goals. They will probably come out and blow us out the water. Then we go away to Villa in the FA Cup because you can't sack him while we're still in the clubs. You can't do this. we'll get beat by Villa in the FA Cup. What do we do then? But I mean, like someone said in the chat about Silva at Everton, I'm just using him as a name. I think he's a better coach than Ange.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I like the guy at Bournemouth. I think he's decent. But like you're saying, if somebody who knows at the club what they're doing, then there's managers out there. Who's going to come? Who are you going to get? Well, you approach a manager, don't you? You pay. There's a manager you really want. You pay them the money they want, which is the wider conversation which you all obviously want to come on to.
Yeah, but so the thing is this, right? If I would look at it like this, right? I'd go, right, I've got Liverpool away in the League Cup, so I think I'll keep hands for that. I think we're going to get knocked out by Villa regardless. And so you've got to just make sure that we're in the Europa. So the question that you ask yourself is this, right? The question you ask yourself is this. You go, right, I'll keep Ange for the second leg of the League Cup and I'll keep Ange for Villa, right? And then if I'm talking to someone who can come in to do the Europa and make sure we go up the league a bit, right? Because the league's done. We ain't get, to make sure we don't go down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would be thinking to myself, is there anyone on the market that I could bring in till the end of the season who can take us for the Europa, who can take us to get us up the league? And then that's how I'd probably look at it, right? Yeah. The thing with Ange is this, right? Is that, in Japan, we'll get on to Johnson in a minute, Alfie. Don't worry. The thing about Ange is this: is that in Brisbane, in Japan, and in Scotland, I think, not my knowledge of, is that definitely with Celtic, he was the market leader in terms of who he could buy. He could buy the best in that market, in that league, and bring him in, right? And he probably had that in Japan, and he probably had that in Brisbane as well.
And Celtic were head and shoulders.
Yeah, he's not got that here. Okay, he's not got that in this league, and he will never get it. He will never get it right now. So that's one thing, right? The other thing is I'll take you back again, and I know it's not a reason for not sacking him. That summer 2 years ago, Tuchel signed up for that final sign up. There was no one else. Slot is the one that we should have done, and I'm not just saying it because he's top of the league now. I said it at the time. And I said it, Feyenoord won the Eredivisie. They're not Ajax. Therefore, he's got something about him, right? Yeah. But, as usual, our glorious chairman balls that up, right? So we've got Ange now. And if I look around, if I say to myself, right, given who we are and the ownership and the fact that our majority owner wants out and they're looking for capital to come into the club, which tells us a whole other story, right? You're not going to get anyone now in January. You're not going to get Silva. You're not going to get Thomas Frank. You're not going to get the geezer at Bournemouth, right? So if I was looking at bringing someone in who's not a superstar, and I'm bored of Project Win now, whatever, you want someone who's going to come in and go, right, this is my style of play. I adjust to the opposition at times, and you have that halfway house between boring as batshit and Aussie and Ange entertaining, right? You've got to have that halfway ground, right? And that's probably who I would look to get in. So I don't mind if we got Thomas Frank in. I'm not sure he'd want to come. I don't mind if we got Silva. I think he's done a good job at Fulham, but the question is whether he can step up to a bigger club. I'm not sure.
Mate, can I just say that before? Right, sorry, because I think I'm not a fan of Ange, and I haven't been for a while. Right, that's fair enough. But I don't think he will be sacked. I think he could have lost to Tamworth at the weekend, lost tonight, and he would be safe as houses, mate. I genuinely think he would. He's got. I think the players are still behind him. He's got a massive chunk of the fan base behind him. And that's what I'm just saying. I don't rate him. Even if we'd have drawn tonight, I'd have said I'm not that keen on him. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to take us where we want to go. That's only my opinion.
I understand that, but I think it would have had more chance of working this season if we'd have had a better summer window, right? We got Gray.
He owns that, mate. He was happy with that.
Yeah, but every manager we've ever had, whilst they are at the club, go, I was really happy with the business, blah, blah, blah. As soon as they leave and the old non-disclosure clause or terminations provisions expires, they all come out and go, well, actually, I wanted blah, blah, and blah. Mourinho goes, I wanted Ruben Diaz, and so who else? And I got fucking Joe Rodon and Gareth Bale too, right? So that's by the by, right? So I think the reality is I am of the strongest opinion that it does not make any difference whatsoever who is our first team coach due to our ownership. So let's part that, right? Then the question is now, we are in a position where we know that the owners are looking for a capital injection to buy some of them out and put some more money into that club and build that bloody hotel. And that's where we are with that. But the fact of the matter is the fan base are not going to put up with for too much longer a 1998 league position. We're still in the cups at the moment and pay top tier prices. They're not going to part.
They will, Dave. I think they will, Dave.
Well, this is what genuinely mystifies me, and I appreciate I'm watching it the other side of the world at different time zone. That stadium has not turned against Levy. It's only the south stand, and that's been it. Parts of the south stand, and so that I'm mystified by that. But that's as for Ange is concerned. If we're all led to believe he signed off on Werner. I'm led to believe he definitely wanted Johnson, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Dragusin, a guy we like to play football out from the back. You've got to be able to play football. Ange wanted him. He comes in. Terrible on the ball.
He's terrible on the ball, but I know that. Look,
I don't think he's. I
don't think he's that bad. Actually, I think I'd be happy for him to play alongside a ball-playing centre back. And him in the team, and I'd rather him there than Romero. Sorry, but let's talk about Johnson, right?
Right. So now, let's before we go on to Johnson. So where I struggle with is lots of teams sack managers. Managers only have a shelf life. I believe that. Look, I've said look. I don't think he's going to get sacked. He'll stay to the end of the season, but all we are. It's just blind hope, isn't it, that he will succeed with Ange? Like we're saying, we can't sack another manager. Rinse and repeat. It's just the same old Tottenham cycle. This and that. This is, we can't sack another manager. We can't do that. Arsenal did this. Liverpool did that. Look at so-and-so. Look at so-and-so. But all it is blind hope that we get some players back and it will work.
Which is like last season, because we all said, as soon as, I agree with you, as soon as Madison's back, as soon as they're all back, we'll be fine. And that didn't happen, right? So, look, if you say to me, will Ange be the manager at the start of next season? No is the answer. He will not be the manager at the start of next season. I'm pretty sure on that, right? No, I don't want Poch back. Okay, so that's that one. What my hope is that, and this is far off, and it's a dreamland, is that someone somewhere comes in with a load of money, puts in a percentage, does an Ineos, right? And comes in and goes, right, I'll pay you this. You carry on building your hotel and getting Adele to do a concert in the stadium, Levy, and I'll take care of the football side. Now, Levy won't agree to that because he's a control freak, right? So that's that one, right? So Ange, who's that?
Oh, sorry, that's Ralph.
What's Ralph think? Ange in or out? 1 baht for in, 2 bahts for out.
Ralph does what he's told. Ralph, Ange in or Ange out? Mate, he's playing up now. No barks. He just can't be bothered.
He's a diva. Another YouTube diva. Right. Okay. So let's talk about Brennan Johnson for a minute. Now, you and our good friend, our top showbiz friend in Vienna, said from the get-go, he's not good enough. We shouldn't have bought him. I said he's like an Anderton or a Waddle, slow start. Let's be patient. No. That's what I argued. I argued. Okay, and I'm being upfront about that. Then at the North London derby, the home game, that's when I'd had enough because he, as you all said, he doesn't beat a man. He doesn't go to the byline. He's like Ryan Sessegnon, really, with better hamstrings, right? And I was done. And that North London derby, the home game, I was more annoyed at the end of that one because basically Arsenal just toyed with us. They gave us all the possession, and Kulu and Maddison just passed it side to side, side to side, right? And so therefore, and then after that, he came back. He got the online abuse, which I think is anyone who gets online abuse.
Nobody should.
No, none. And anyone who thinks that someone's paid 200, 100 grand a week gives another person the right to do so should have a word with themselves.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. But tonight he came on. So I quickly dropped Jack off at his job, listening to it on Talk Sport, and come back here, right? And so I hear he's taken off Sarr and Basuma. And Sarr, by the way, I thought he's brilliant City away, but he's another example of being overplayed. He's overplayed, and he's not playing very well, frankly. Right?
Well, what is he though? But as well, what we say with Sarr, I think he's another one that comes in certain games because doesn't do he's not like he doesn't do loads defensively. He's not doesn't really smash teams up. He scored a couple of good goals, but he doesn't go through. He just sort of gets about the pitch, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Sarr breaks up the play, moves the ball forward at speed, and that's what he did. And he had a great game at City. Right, and he's been playing like that. But I'll take you back to his debut against AC Milan away. Now, please tell me if I'm wrong. I thought he had a great game shielding the defense, and he passed the ball deep to the wings, and his passing that night was excellent, and he was composed. He's been turned into a number 8 who runs very fast, and we've got loads of number 8s. And maybe we don't play with a number 6 at all, and that's not how he plays. We don't have a number 6. So let's get on to Johnson. So I tweeted that Johnson's got the determination of a lemon meringue. All right?
Keep telling him I've just got to let the dog out, Dave. Keep telling the people who are watching.
So we've now turned into a one-person rant in a room at 9:48 on a Thursday morning. Okay. So Johnson, right?
Yeah.
I tweeted that he had the determination of a lemon meringue. I was tweeted I'd bring on Moore and substitute Johnson, right? He did nothing, right? I mean, that left back for the Gooners, he looks like a good player. And when he got subbed and he was like revving up the crowd, he's a proper Gooner. I can't stand him already. Good player, but I can't stand him already, right? But Johnson did not take him on at all. Like we've seen, he gets the ball. What does Johnson do? And he did his cross into the he did a cross into the middle, which went to no one, right? A better crosser of the ball was Porro. Porro has been running to the ground and showed more determination. That shot at the end, right, in the near post, yeah? So again, I would love to see Jed Spence on the right as a right back and Porro right up top. And I would sell, I'd try and get, I mean, I was joking to HG on the WhatsApp. I said to him, Notts Forest have really regressed since they've sold Johnson, haven't they? He's just, to me, this is me done now.
He'll be off to Leicester, mate. He'll be off to Leicester in a couple of years.
I mean, maybe he doesn't have the mentality to go to a bigger club. Maybe he doesn't have the mentality. He just doesn't take on a player and stick it across. And there you go. So was that hot off the press? Levy is summoned down for a meeting, according to another Spurs YouTube account. Don't know if you want to bring that comment. Which Spurs YouTube? Okay. So at the end of the day, where we are is this, right? Johnson is even coming on as the impact sub at half time. I had more, that plant over there had more impact in the second half than Johnson. He was terrible. And I couldn't work out why he wasn't, like towards the end of the game, he wasn't even the furthest player out on the right. That was Kulu and Porro, right?
He's weak as well. I mean, you know what? Me and HG said this when we signed him. I can remember before we signed him, I watched him in a game against Arsenal, and there were a couple of times saw him do things when he went through on goal, and I thought that it just looked like a real weak player to me. And I mean, you can't knock him. I think he's our top goal scorer. So but I think the team functions better without him, if you get what I mean. It's like we're giving something away to get something else. Do you get what I mean, Dave? Like when he plays, we have to, hope for, and the fact that hopefully he will score, that we lose something else. Like obviously, like you said, ball retention. I mean, I suppose to be fair, actually, he does ball retention because he just passes it 5 yards backwards, doesn't he? But mate, I said this when we signed him. He's just not a good. I don't want to dig him out because I've never thought anything different. I just don't think he's a very good player. I just don't.
No. And it would appear that this is who Ange wanted, right?
Yeah.
And for us, and contextually, we spent a lot of money there. And contextually, Levy loves it when a club's in financial fair play problems.
You could get Forest for that now.
Notts Forest, Burnley, who was the other one? Everton for Richarlison, right? So
Villa with Grealish before they got bought out.
Yeah, that's right. Here's Marcus Edwards and a packet of crisps. Right. So where we are now is this, right? I'm with Kulusevski, right? When we're playing an away game against the top teams, I'm happy with him playing right up top because I think he can stretch the play and keep possession of his strength. What you saw tonight is that the Gooners were all over Kulusevski the whole game. Did you see? They were all over him.
Yeah.
And they're at home and they adjusted their tactics to the other team, which our manager doesn't do, right? So that's that one, right? So Kulusevski it plays on the right against the top teams to stretch the play, right? Johnson, I'm done with him. In terms of positives from tonight, right? Bergvall, I thought Bergvall had a great game. And the other thing I like about Bergvall is that I think he's capable of a bit of shithousery, right?
Well, he's brave, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I really like that. So when people went on about Coco Lamela, he's a shithousery. No, I want someone to be a great player, a good player. And if you put the shithousery on top, great. But if you're a shit player and all you do is shithousery, what's the point, right? So Bergvall, I like what I see. He's got the balls to stand up for himself. The fact they rolled out Archie Gray after the Tamworth game for the interview is a disgrace of the club for an 18-year-old. And he turned around and said, well, we didn't play very well. So I like those two. You need experience. That's not on
Levy or anything like that.
No. But that's on the Well, I'm not saying that. Not everything's on Levy, just to be clear. Most things, but not everything, right? But the other thing is, so I like Bergvall, right? I really like Gray. I think he is a fantastic player, right? I really do think that. Okay. But the other thing is that Richarlison, what I liked about Richarlison, and
he did all right when he come on.
Yeah, he did do all right
when he came on.
Because he basically ruffled. Look,
Sonny, he ruffles feathers.
He ruffles feathers. I realised after we signed him that he had probably the footballing skills of Chris Armstrong, and me and you were exchanging notes on that. I was like going, he gets caught offside a lot. He can't really control the ball. What actually? That summer there was Rafinha, Jesus, and Richarlison, and I said, if we don't want Rafinha, I want Richarlison. So I think ultimately he's not good enough, and he'll go. But what I liked tonight is he came on and acted like it was a North London derby and gave him shit. Same with Bergvall. And I like that as well, right? So those are the positives. Son is done. He's done. I'm sorry.
I'm with you, Dave, because we've been saying this for ages, but it's like we've got Mikey Moore in the fold. I think it was me and you who said this before. We got Mikey Moore in the fold. We knew we bought Odebear in, and we've got Son. But what we needed to do, Son's like 32, isn't he? Mikey Moore, 17. Yeah? What we needed to do is go and buy a player in that position who's in the sweet spot that can take Son's minutes. Son can still come in, but we can rest him because we've played him to death. Always played him. And basically, so we can try and get the best out of Son. We've got this guy. So Son keeps doing that and he stays at the club and he still scores goals, but, he's not as tired as, he's not getting as many minutes. And then he does what he needs to do. And this guy who we've bought in the sweet spot becomes our new Son, if he can. Mm-hmm. For as long as that goes. Mikey Moore's coming through then. By the time this guy that we bought now is at Son's age, Mikey Moore is hitting his sweet spot. Should be. That's like the progression how it should be. But we bought Odebear in. It's just literally a couple of years older than Mikey Moore, isn't he?
Well, but that just goes to my point, right? Is because basically, Sonny's peak. What works for Sonny is that when you got a player who's going to play him in on the wing, on the counter, and finds him, right? Which is what Kane did, right? Which I think ostensibly is what Maddison should have done, should be doing, hasn't really done, right? Okay, so that's that one, right? He's not a good enough player to be moved to another part of the team and rely on his other skills, like a Scholes or even a Rooney, right? He's not that player, right?
No.
Now, again, I'll come back to it. Salah, Firmino, Mane. Right? They got 40 million for Mane. Firmino went on a free, I think, to Saudi Arabia, and Salah. But they have gone out and done their succession planning. Hit and miss, but that's and they bought players who are good to go, right?
Yeah,
we got in Manor Solomon, which was kind of like the taking advantage of a situation on a free, right? You got in Odegaard, who I'm very sorry. He's got a bad injury. He's got that hamstring injury that Kane had when he needed the operation, and but everyone goes, "Oh, he was great against us in the cup or whatever." Not okay, great. But the fact of the matter is, you buy a ready-to-go, decent player. I mean, people are starting talking about, "Oh, we should be in for the Brentford players." If those when they sell those Brentford players, they ain't coming to us. They're going to go to someone who's going to pay top dollar, top salary, and off you go. We've missed the boat on that one. So, Sonny, I'm very sorry. He's just not good enough. He's not a leader. He's not good enough now to start in the team, right?
Well, he shouldn't be first name on the team sheet, should he?
I mean, no. And you've got to really wonder why he signed that contract renewal in the summer that Kane wanted to go. Is it a clause in his contract that he has to start every game? Is he getting a percentage of the merchandise rights, things like that? I wouldn't be surprised, right?
I think he genuinely, Dave, wants to be at Spurs and be successful at Spurs. I genuinely think he does. But I think if you want to be a big club or a successful club, you've got to make big, brave decisions. And it's just like, I'd be looking at it next season and I'd be getting some players. I've told, like, Romero's going. I've told you I'd go inside to replace him. Captain material, Gay from Palace.
Yeah, but I think he's going to go to
He probably will. He probably will. But he was gettable for us, I think, in the summer. I think depending who goes for him, he is gettable for us now. I don't think we will. And I think you've got to start saying we've got to make some big, brave decisions. Sonny, this is the role you're going to play in the squad. Whoever's manager, this is the role you're going to play.
But it's too late. I don't see it as a big, brave decision, frankly. I think it's a too late decision, and it's basically,
at the end of late. But
it's all too late, right?
Sentimentality will get you nothing in football.
I am a nostalgist, as you know, but I'm not a sentimentalist when it comes to football or most things, right? Eriksen back for a second time, no. Poch come back, no. Never works when people come back a second time or a third, right? So the fact remains is, as I said, a decent club, well run, aligned in all the departments and things like that. You do the planning and the strategy and things like that. We're in the middle of January. We've done a whole load of work about trying to sign a geezer from PSG. He's gone to Juventus. Okay, well, where's the next one? Right? Where's the next one?
Because apparently he's our main target, wasn't he? If you believe bits you read, which is difficult to do, but apparently he was our top target as well.
Any comments that you want to put up?
No, it's up to you, mate. I mean, I can't do two things at once. That's why I don't like to host, really. But obviously,
I can't. I don't have the signing rights anymore to put comments up. So there's one comment from Gary Bex that says, "Which players you think need to move, regardless of the manager?" Well, I would say Son, Richarlison, Maddison. I'm 50-50, to be honest with you.
Son's not going anywhere, is he?
No, but that's the question. Who would I move on? I'd move on Son. I'd move on Richarlison. I would move on obviously Forster, Werner, Basuma. I'd get rid of him. I would. Who else is there?
But somebody more
Johnson.
Definitely. People more, who are better, who look at these things more than me. I mean, what I like Basuma's contract. I think he's got like a year left on his contract.
Probably 2. If he signed, because if he signs, Bentancur. So I know that Kulu's 2028, right?
Yeah,
Kulu's 2028. He ain't
signing a new contract.
He is not signing a new contract. Full stop. Okay.
No.
Right. And Levy doesn't have to move him on until 2026. Okay. So unless unless Pep comes in with like 150 million offer and he goes and plays golf with Gary Neville, he ain't going anywhere, right? Romero's going, and I don't give a shit. The next thing I'm going to say, if I got decent money in, I'd get rid of Vicario. I've decided I don't want him. I just think that I'd like a keeper, right? The thing with Vicario is, I said, right, we should have bought Raya, and then I ate my humble pie for 6 months. Now I think I'd rather have had Raya than Vicario. I just think Vicario gets bullied on cross. I don't think he's very good at crosses, to be honest with you.
That's a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean, people will. I think Vicario has been good, but I think more so than they're getting bullied. What I've noticed from Kinsky in the box, and I'm not saying he's a better keeper yet. It's early days. He's calmer. He's calmer in the area when they're in those situations, which I think makes a big difference. I'm not saying he's a better keeper. He's calmer in those situations.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. He's look at what Kinsky's done. Let's look at Kinsky's Tottenham career so far. Liverpool semi-final of the League Cup, Tamworth away on that pitch, and Arsenal away. Right? I mean, you got to give the geezer some credit because he's come in and I think the Trossard goal was probably his fault. Right? He should have done better. But but the thing is, and I agree with you, there's more calmness about him than Vicario. I want a keeper to be calm. Right, I was brought up with Ray Clements, right? He made Graham Roberts and he made that defence. He helped make Roberts' career, Miller and all the rest of them, right? But he calm from the point of view of he gave them a bollocking and sorted them out, and he was organised, but not emotional. But Vicario's emotional. You can't have an emotional goalkeeper.
But I think there's probably value in. I'm not saying sell him. I'm not going down there. Let's see how it plays out with Kinsky. But there probably is value in Vicario. If I'm not sure how much somebody could afford to pay for him in Italy, but I'm sure he's the Italian number 2, isn't he? He is a decent goalkeeper. But
and he now realises for the first time that his competition for a place is not. It's not a 6'4", 37-year-old tree. It's not a 26-year-old who hasn't played, and it's not a part-time DJ and photographer. He's got a proper competition for his place now, right?
Competition for places should enhance performance.
I agree.
And, like when you look at it now, we're talking about Porro. Spence. Spence has only come in recently out of necessity, hasn't he?
Yeah, well,
and he should have been challenging Porro and Udogie.
So there's as I said, did a Spurs show a couple of weeks ago. There's a guy called Dan Lowe, he's a very funny guy, right? He goes, based on the minutes that Jed Spence has played for Tottenham and how he's performed in them, he's the best player that we've ever had in our club's history. Because I'm telling, I don't know. I understand there was a problem with him moaning about his hotel room in the club tour of Israel. I understand that there's been attitudinal things, stuff like that. I really like Jed Spence.
Yeah,
I really like him. I really want to see him start at right back. He's playing on the wrong side.
If you'd have watched him for Forest, and lots of people would have, you would have known that there is a player there.
Yeah,
there is a decent player there. Not saying that you've got to have the right attitude. You've got to, but it was always that there's a decent player there. But we've had a good moan about Spurs, and I'm sure we'll go back onto it before we finish.
Yeah.
But are we going to caveat all this, Dave, by saying, and Arsenal I didn't think they were great tonight. They didn't put us to bed when they could have. But they have gone that way over us, haven't they? They are.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I point to 2 sliding doors moments in the last 10 years. So the first sliding door moment is when we spanked Liverpool 4-1 at Wembley. Yeah? Yeah? Kerry, you might want to be careful when you write the way you write that. Only joking. So when we spanked Liverpool 4-1, right? That was a sliding doors moment. The second sliding doors moment is when we spanked Arsenal 3-0 and got top 4, right? And then that summer, we bought 6 players, of which the manager may have wanted 1 or 2 of them. And it's a manager who's a win now manager, right? And then since then, they've gone that way and we've gone the other way. Now, I've been mischievously saying this week on Twitter that Darren's very upset tonight. I've been saying mischievously on Twitter that is Arteta just their poch, really? And where Arteta has done well is that he got a cup final up against that footballing genius Frank Lampard coaching Chelsea, and he got himself a trophy, right? The Gooners fans make me laugh because they've been moaning about Arteta for years. And if you listen to the phone-ins of the last few weeks, they've been moaning about him again. I don't think Arteta will win them a trophy, right? But I think where they are as a team and where they are as a club, they make decent signings, right? I mean, Saliba went out on loan. I'm pretty sure Saliba turned us down and he went out. Darren, you can let off steam. That's what we're here for, mate. Let off steam, mate. I've been letting off steam for a long time,
mate. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it, Dave? I'm
gonna sit here. I know. I'm gonna see an Arsenal fan walking around. I've got curry with a gooner tonight and his family. Okay, so at the end of the day, where Arsenal are as a club, right? Is the Dunnes Stadium? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is where we wanted to be is buy decent players, buy intelligently, and have a manager who you stick with, and it's all aligned and this, that, and the other. We don't have that, and where we are now. We were ahead of them for a while, from the end of Wenger, Poch years up until 2 or 3 years ago, but now they are ahead of us. They will get Champions League for the 3rd season running, I think.
We've not got it in us to sustain that as a club, do we?
No. And it boils down to what Kerry's next door neighbour's been given proper grief.
But Dave, that comes from, and this is like a discussion for the day because we could go on and on. The top brass need to be sort of like determined, don't they? You get that from a determination and like we want to push on, we want to win. Like I know Arsenal have won that one FA Cup and they're probably not going to win anything. Like you say, I agree on all that with you. But winning things in this country is hard. But you want to be in. If you're not going to be winning, at least be in there with a shout. Keep getting the Champions League. Because if you keep getting in the Champions League, you keep getting the revenue. You can get the better players. Because like Muani went to Juventus because they were in the Champions League. Yeah. But we just cannot maintain that. And wages usually correlates to where you finish in the league. And we are down in the wages we give players. So
we've got something like the worst revenue of we've got the worst ratio of revenue to salaries that we pay, right? So
and I said this, Dave, at the start of the season, and Leon, who's not watching tonight, but he can back me up, and probably HG when he's on. I said at the start of the season, before a Premier League ball was kicked with the signings we got in, and I just looked at it and I said, if we're not careful, we will sleepwalk into mid-table, and that's all I could see. And I know I'm not the most positive because I've been doing this the same as you for years, and I'm very cynical now. And the days of me believing or just having blind hopes for fools. Do you know what I mean? I've seen too much of it now, and so I'm very sort of like what I see. That's it, and I can't get away from that, and I just think what I think. And I said to HG and the likes of that, I think if we're not careful, we will sleepwalk into mid-table mediocrity, and that is where we're heading at the minute.
Yeah, I'm reading that Spurs book on the 90s. So I'm just about to start the 96-97 season, which was a crap season, but not as bad as the 97-98 season, right?
No.
And you look at the 90s. I mean, we won 2 trophies in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah,
we won 2 trophies in the 90s, and we signed, Janolas, Klinsmann, Sheringham's a lot, right? And now it's just we're in a situation at the moment where we are a club that is saddled with a debt facility because our owners net have not contributed to the building of that stadium. We have a debt facility that Levy would like. It goes on about, we can negotiate a great deal and interest rates were low and blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't ever fail to talk about that when you borrow a shitload of money from a bank, there's loads of these things called covenants, and you have to have a certain amount of revenue and you have to have a certain amount of these things, or that you will be in default, right? And we know that he's gone round in the summer going, we need a capital injection in the club. We know that Lewis got done for insider trading. He transferred the ownership to the family trust because he wanted to keep the assets away from the authorities. And Lewis has got never has had any interest whatsoever. So we are now, I know, I've been talking about this. We are now a multi-purpose entertainment venue in North London. And the Times reported in the summer that we were after capital for investing in the first team, women's academy, and helping to finance the hotel. So what's all that about, right? So nothing will change. Let's change the manager. Fine. We'll change the manager now or in the summer. Nothing will ever change whilst they are the owners or they are running the football operations, because they know nothing about running football operations. Sorry.
No, Dave. And it's like I said, like when we chat in our groups and stuff, I've said the only way I can see Spurs becoming successful and winning trophies is if, and people will say, "Oh, I can't have that because it's immoral or whatever," is if somebody from the States or an oil country come and buy us and spunk a load of money into it.
and
they got no moral, and they got no moral, and because we're making the FFP, we turn over a lot of money, so it's like they don't care about any. They're not. There's no like, oh, we've got to keep him, or we've got to do this, or this is what we're all about. It's like, no, we're coming here to win.
Yeah, and let me be really clear. If you go and look at Joe Lewis's activities in Patagonia, if you have a look at the stadium bid, the London Olympic bid, and the court case around that, and you look at certain other things, I'll be really clear here, very careful when I say this. Our owners are not as squeaky clean as you would.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So let's be really clear about that, okay? But the reality is that for our club that we love, and look at the wall and all the pictures and look at this, right? Is at the end, what I would like to see us play entertaining football, have a go, right? Champions League, try and win a title. I'm not expecting us to spend 130 million on a player and pay him 350 a week, right? But have a go. The Gooners went to West Ham and said, "What's the price for Rice?" 110 million in the end, and he's approved their team. We'd never do that.
Never doing that.
We are never going to do that with these owners ever, right? And nor, let's be clear, did Alan Sugar do that either?
No,
right? Okay, and then and Scholar did, and look where they got us. So I think you might want to wrap this up. It's late there with you,
mate. Yeah, I mean, like I think we've had a right old moan, and Darren has been in the comments saying sorry for shouting, mate. You carry on. Pete, whatever. We if people can give us shit in here or say what, we don't care. It's just a bit of fun any day. We don't take it ourselves too seriously.
No, we don't take it. This is the whole point. This is therapy. This would be like me and you are in the pub after the game.
Yeah.
Or we've gone on a away trip. We're in the car on the way home and we're moaning.
I've done
loads of that. I've been done loads of that years. And so my day is going to be tonight. I've got a curry with a mate and his family. He's a massive gooner from North London. He's going to wear an Arsenal shirt, and I'm going to wear my Spurs shirt because you never hide, ladies. Well,
you've got to wear it when you lose more than when you win, Dave.
Absolutely. And today I'm seeing I've got a lunch today.
You're a right loser.
Yeah, I know that. And what everyone is saying, right? And what everyone's saying in the chat and this, that, and the other. You got neighbours. You got I got friends. I'm probably having a beer tomorrow night. If a gooner's going to turn up there as well. And I get messages all day long. But the other thing is that my lovely and wonderful mum, who doesn't watch this, she is an Arsenal fan. My mum is an Arsenal fan. Okay, so we've all got them in our lives, and that is what I want to end on. My mum.
So I've got the guy who sort of like sends us out on jobs. He's an Arsenal fan and went tonight, so I'll avoid him like the plague. He's all right, to be fair. He don't give me any shit. But the kid who I work with hates football, so we don't talk about football all day. So, like, tomorrow we'll talk about all different things because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Probably thinks the same about me about football, supporting Spurs. But you know, but yeah, Dave, great chat. My missus will be glad that I've had this chat with you, so I won't go chuntering upstairs and arguing with my son about who's shit and who's not. We can just go to bed now. You can get on with your day, and we've got Sunday against Everton to look forward to, haven't we?
Look forward. Very, very loosely look forward. Look forward from a calendar point of view because it's in the future. But other than that, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for all your comments. Thanks everyone for all your comments tonight. Don't forget to like us and all that business.
Subscribe, all that shit.
All that stuff. Yes.
And there'll be some. Keep an eye on the socials or on YouTube. I think there's a show Friday night to preview the much anticipated Everton away game.
They might be rolling me out for that one as well. I get all the good ones.
We may as well say it, Dave. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Never hide.